I think Joseph will beat Daniel Dubois and become a two-time world champion.
I love the fight. I spent a bit of time with Daniel towards the back end of last year when he got back from Brazil, and was really hoping that his team, Frank Warren and the guys, would agree to fight Joseph Parker.
Daniel Dubois is growing into the right direction as a fighter that believes in himself at 27 years old. His style suits a young man. His style, with a young man that believes in himself, it can be concussive.
Joseph Parker's promoter David Higgins confidently predicts victory for Parker in his bout against Daniel Dubois. Higgins argued that Anthony Joshua's performance against Dubois inflated Dubois' reputation, leading his camp to believe they are unbeatable. However, Higgins firmly stated that Dubois does not stand a chance against Parker.
No disrespect to Anthony Joshua, like he did amazing things, but he didn't really want to be in that ring with Daniel Dubois, mentally a bit shot. And I think Anthony Joshua made Dubois look way better than he is. And I think the Dubois camp are feeling unbeatable. I think they genuinely don't give Joseph Parker a chance.
Higgins mentioned that Frank Warren and Daniel Dubois believe they will dominate Joseph Parker, but he sees this underestimation as an advantage. He explained that being the underdog is a familiar position for them, as they were also counted out against Wilder, yet Parker outclassed him. Similarly, they were expected to lose against Zhilei Zhang, but Parker nearly won every round, proving the doubters wrong. Higgins stated, "It's actually a bloody good heavyweight boxing matchup, because you got two guys who are in their prime, steaming in off 3 wins with momentum, who are arguably coming in their best."
Frank Warren and Dubois and the team there think he's going to punch holes in Joseph Parker. That suits us quite fine. We've been the underdog every fight. They expected us to lose against Wilder. Joseph totally outclassed Wilder. Expected us to lose against Zhang. Joseph outclassed Zhang, won nearly every round.
David Higgins acknowledged that the fight between Joseph Parker and Daniel Dubois is a close contest that could go either way. However, he expressed confidence in Parker, stating he would bet on his fighter to come out on top.
It's a very good fight. Don't get me wrong. It's a close fight, and if you know, it could go either way. But I'll back Joseph Parker on that one.
Sports commentator Adam Smith shared his enthusiasm for the upcoming fight between Joseph Parker and Daniel Dubois during an interview with pro boxing fans. He mentioned that he recently spent time with Dubois towards the end of last year, after Daniel was returning from Brazil. Smith expressed his excitement for the bout, stating that he loves this matchup and is eagerly looking forward to it. Additionally, he emphasized his desire for Frank Warren and Dubois' team to agree to the fight, highlighting how much he wanted to see this clash happen. Smith added, "Joseph wanted the opportunity. He was waiting around. He had a few months where he was just sitting around, really, after having a real rhythm going on."
I love it. I love the fight. I spent a bit of time with Daniel towards the back end of last year when he got back from Brazil, and was really hoping that his team, Frank Warren and the guys, would agree to fight Joseph Parker.
Adam Smith acknowledged the strengths of both fighters, noting that Joseph Parker is training under the guidance of Andy Lee, while Daniel Dubois is working with Don Charles. He highlighted that both boxers are coming into the fight with strong momentum. However, Smith believes Dubois will likely be favored by the public due to his youth and perceived potential.
He's got a great relationship with Andy Lee. Daniel's now with Don Charles. Both of them have got real momentum. Yeah, Daniel will be favored to win. He's the younger guy. He's the one to beat, really, I suppose.
Adam Smith emphasized that Joseph Parker, despite being more experienced, is still young, hungry, and driven to succeed. He shared that he recently spent time with Parker and noted how determined the fighter is to secure a victory, firmly believing in his ability to win. Smith stated, "I think it is a fantastic fight for the heavyweight division on the best card I have ever seen, and having been in the sport for a very long time, that's a pretty big call."
Joe Parker is not an old fox. He's not old yet. You know, I spent a lot of time with Joe recently as well. He's really keen on this fight. He really believes he's going to win.
Adam Smith praised Turki Al-Sheikh and everyone involved in making the upcoming card a reality. He expressed admiration for Turki's efforts, stating that the boxing community should truly acknowledge him for bringing together such a great event. Smith added that he's eagerly anticipating the fight and can't wait for it to unfold. Smith added, "It's what we want to see."
I think this really, you got to don your hat to Turki Al-Sheikh and the whole team that have got this over the line. Bivol Bateviev and the whole card. It's just fantastic, and I really can't wait for it. But yeah, Dubois and Parker is brilliant.
British and Irish boxing trainer Shane McGuigan shared his opinion on the upcoming fight between Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker. He believes Dubois will end the bout within 3 to 4 rounds. McGuigan clarified that he meant no disrespect to Parker, but noted that his past performances have been flattering. He pointed out how sluggish Parker appeared against Jack Massey, and mentioned that Parker repeatedly got hit with the right hand during that fight.
Daniel will get to him within 4 or 5 rounds. I think I'm not going to be disrespectful to Joseph Parker, but the last few fights have flattered him. You know, I think where he was against Jack Massey, he looked sluggish, ponderous, kept getting buzzed with the right hand.
Shane McGuigan believes Daniel Dubois will land clean shots that will hurt Joseph Parker and ultimately take him out. He has high regard for Dubois' punching power, calling him a world-class puncher. Praising Dubois' punches, he stated, "Daniel Dubois, yeah, he is a big lump, but his hands are quick. And when he throws his 1-2, it's sharp and powerful and direct as well."
I just see him landing early and hurting Parker and taking him out, because he's a world-class puncher.
According to McGuigan, the only way Joseph Parker has a chance to win is if he can survive the first half of the fight and offset Dubois. However, McGuigan favors Daniel Dubois in the fight and still believes that Parker will be taken out early in the bout.
If Parker can get through the first 3 or 4 rounds and try and offset him, then he's in for a chance. But I think it will go early.
British former professional boxer Johnny Nelson believes that Daniel Dubois is heading in the right direction as a fighter. He says that Dubois' style suits him well, describing it as the style of a young man who believes in himself. Nelson adds that Dubois' style can be concussive, making him a dangerous opponent.
Daniel Dubois is growing into the right direction as a fighter that believes in himself at 27 years old. His style suits a young man. His style, with a young man that believes in himself, it can be concussive.
Johnny Nelson admires Joseph Parker, describing him as a good, clever, and cute boxer. He believes the fight will be a battle of brains versus brawn. Nelson also mentions that it could be a potential banana skin for Daniel Dubois, where Parker could pull off an upset. He imagines the possibility of Parker becoming the IBF champion again, which would be a remarkable turn of events. Nelson stated, "It's a good fight either way. I can see why both fighters could win."
Joseph Parker he's a good boxer, he's a cute boxer, he's a clever boxer. So it's going to be brains against brawn. And I think, you know, it could be a banana skin for Daniel Dubois, you know, but could you imagine it? You know, Joseph Parker ends up being IBF champion.
Johnny Nelson also reflected on Daniel Dubois' challenge to Alexander Usyk after the Fury-Usyk rematch. He stated that Dubois was simply doing his job by putting himself in a prominent position, likely at the advice of his promoter. Nelson acknowledged that while Dubois' move may have seemed bold, it might have fallen on his face a little bit in terms of its reception. Johnny Nelson claimed that it was not a good time to call out. He stated, "I think timing-wise was probably not the greatest, because Usyk and everybody in the ring kind of looked like, okay, no problem." Nelson claimed that it may not have the effect Daniel wanted it to have.
Listen, he was doing his job. He was trying to put himself in a position. I'm quite sure his promoter said, "Get up there, let people see," and he probably kind of fell flat on his face a little bit. And I'm quite sure Daniel does want to fight.
British retired professional boxer and trainer George Groves shared his thoughts on the upcoming bout between Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker, stating that he favors Dubois to win. However, he praised both fighters for being in great form and momentum. He acknowledged Parker's strong efforts in his fight against Zhilei Zhang, recognizing his resilience and performance.
I favour Dubois. You know, they're both in good form, good momentum. Parker showed a lot of nuts to get up off the floor twice to get past Zhilei Zhang.
George Groves mentioned to Boxing News that he spoke with Joseph Parker at the end of the previous year. During their conversation, Parker revealed that he had brought in a new conditioning coach and made significant changes to his training regimen. Groves expressed admiration for Parker, stating that the fighter has never looked in better shape than he does now. George further added, "But Daniel Dubois is just flying, especially since he linked up with Don Charles."
He's put himself in the picture now for another world title challenge. Great guy. You know, I spoke to him at the end of last year, and he said he's brought in a new conditioning coach, and he's changed a lot of his training around. He looks in much better shape than he's ever done.
George Groves believes that Daniel Dubois' win over Anthony Joshua will remain his most significant victory, stating that he'll never have a win that feels as rewarding as that one. However, he clarified that he doesn't mean Dubois' performances will necessarily drop off from there, just that the magnitude of that victory sets a high benchmark.
He's never going to have a win that's going to feel as good as that Anthony Joshua win, so it's all downhill from there, so to speak. But I don't mean his performances are going to drop off. He's just going to have to come to terms with that. But I think he's such a guy that anything goes, that he'll be fine. I'd pick him to beat Joseph Parker.
Former world champion Darren Barker broke down the fight and gave us his perspective. He advises that Daniel Dubois should focus on landing his right hand, but first, he needs to establish a rhythm with his jab. Barker emphasizes that Dubois must be aggressive on the front foot and, when throwing the right hand, ensure he brings his front foot in to deliver more power and control. He added, every now and again he, Dubois, is so eager to let that right hand go that he forgets to bring the feet in.
And I think that is something that he's going to have to try and do in this fight. He's got to try and look for that right hand. But first things first, I think he needs to try and establish a rhythm with the jab. Get behind the jab, be aggressive on the front foot, and when he lets the right hand go, he's got to bring that front foot in.
Darren Barker highlights that Daniel Dubois' footwork is often underrated, noting how he cleverly slides in and out of range. However, he stresses the importance of matching his eagerness to throw punches with the right footwork. Barker believes that being aggressive with his feet is crucial for Dubois to effectively execute his strategy and maintain control in the fight.
The footwork of Daniel Dubois is a little bit underrated. He's very, very cute in the way that he slides in and out of range. But it's so important that your eagerness to let the hands go is mirrored with your feet. You've got to be very aggressive on those feet, because what you don't want to be doing is falling over that front foot.
Darren Barker emphasizes Joseph Parker's wealth of experience, noting that despite being only 32, he's been around the sport for a long time. He believes Parker has the ability to become a two-time world champion with the experience to back it up. He added, I think his key to success is being smart.
For Joseph Parker, this man full of experience, it's crazy to think he's still only 32 years old. He's been around for a long, long time, and he's aiming to become a two-time heavyweight champion of the world, and he's got the ability with the experience to do so now.
Darren Barker advises Joseph Parker to stay alert in the fight and focus on taking the range away from Daniel Dubois. He suggests Parker should counter with a left hook when Dubois misses and also throw his own right hand, targeting the body.
He needs to try and take the range away from Dubois when he does miss, if he does miss with the right hand, counter with the left hook or throw his own right hand. I think shots to the body as well. He's a very good body puncher, Joseph Parker. He needs to slip on the outside of the right hand and throw the left to the body, or if he can slip on the outside of the left and come up with the right uppercut.
Barker praises Parker's body punches and recommends he slips to the outside of Dubois' right hand to land left hooks to the body. Darren Barker believes that the fight could come down to who wants it more, the one who is determined to move forward. He emphasized that in the current climate, it's about having the bigger heart and showing that extra bit of determination to succeed. The winner will be the one who digs deeper and proves they have what it takes to keep going. Barker, calling it a close fight, stated, actually, I am gonna say there will be knockdowns. I guarantee that there will be knockdowns.
Who's got the bigger heart? Who's got the bigger, you know what I'm talking about? Who's going to show that little bit more? This is what it could come down to. Who wants it more? Who wants to move on? We've seen it. Winner stays on in this current climate. And
British sports promoter Eddie Hearn favors Joseph Parker. He calls himself Joseph Parker's unofficial promoter. He calls Joseph his mate and claims to have great regard for Parker as well. He firmly believes that Parker will win. Eddie added, I think he's Joseph Parker got the style to beat Daniel Dubois.
I think he wins the fight. You know, I mean, I'm kind of like Joseph's unofficial promoter. He's a mate of mine. I love him, and I think he's going to win.
Eddie pointed out that sometimes, after securing a big win, fighters can get a bit carried away, referencing Daniel Dubois calling out Oleksandr Usyk. He contrasted this with Joseph Parker, who he described as steadily chipping away and putting in the work. Eddie acknowledged the fight would be tough, but expressed confidence that Parker would come out on top.
Sometimes when you get that big win, you know, you get a little bit carried away, see him in the ring against, you know, calling out Usyk, and, you know, if I'm Joseph Parker, I'm just chipping away, working away. And it's a tough fight, but I think he'll win.
Hearn also stressed that it's important not to count out Joseph Parker, as it may not be as certain as many believe that Daniel Dubois will come out victorious. He acknowledged Parker's impressive form, noting that he is in the best shape of his life and full of confidence heading into the fight. Hearn believes this newfound confidence and physical condition make Parker a tough challenge, and he sees the matchup as a difficult one for Dubois.
One thing I will tell you is, don't count your chickens. I don't think Daniel Dubois will necessarily beat Joseph Parker. I think Joseph Parker's on a tremendous run of form. He's in the shape of his life. He's extremely confident, but Dubois has a lot of confidence himself right now.
Hearn further emphasized that Joseph Parker is taking everything very seriously, noting how every fighter has a moment when they commit to working harder and becoming smarter. He highlighted that with Parker, each time you see him, he is visibly stronger, showcasing his continuous growth and dedication.
I think he's just taking it really seriously. You know, I think all fighters just find that moment where they say, I'm going to work harder, I'm going to be smarter. And Joseph, every time you see him, he looks strong.
Joseph Parker recently spoke with former pro boxer Carl Froch on his YouTube channel, Froch on Fighting, where he shared how much he has changed since his fight with Anthony Joshua. Parker described himself as a completely different person, both in and out of the ring. He emphasized his growth, noting that he has matured significantly, not only as a fighter, but also as a man and a father. This newfound maturity has given him a fresh perspective on his career and life, shaping his approach to both his personal and professional journey. Expressing his enthusiasm and commitment to boxing, Parker stated, "I love what I do now more than ever."
So it's like a stage 2 of your career, isn't it? Because you've had a great career. I can remember when you fought AJ, when AJ was building.
I feel like the me back then is a lot different to the me now.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more mature.
No, definitely.
As a man, as a father, as a fighter.
In conclusion, the upcoming bout between Joseph Parker and Daniel Dubois has generated a lot of excitement and debate among boxing experts and commentators. Parker's determination and Dubois' momentum playing key roles in their preparation. With the fight being labeled as one of the most thrilling heavyweight matchups in recent memory, it is clear that the stakes are high, and both fighters will be looking to prove themselves on the big stage. If you liked the video, show your support by hitting that like button. Let us know in the comment section below who you think will win this exciting matchup. Feel free to share with a fellow fan, and if you want to stay updated with the latest boxing and MMA news, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss a beat. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.